Hi everyone, my name is Emmy Klein, resident artist here at JerrysArtarama, and today I wanted to show you how to stretch your own Belle Arti Courbet Aqua canvas. Now, just so you know a little bit more about this product, because it is a little confusing, Aqua canvas. It is a watercolor paper, specifically the Fabriano Artistico professional 100% cotton watercolor paper, fused to a beautiful weave of Belle Arti Courbet canvas. All right, so let's do a little bit of a deep dive into the components of this amazing paper. Canvas. It's both. So first on the top surface, we have Fabriano Artistico watercolor paper. It is 100% cotton and 200 GSM, which is about 74 pounds for everybody who's wondering. And it is the traditional white color. So you're gonna have a beautiful watercolor surface to paint on. Now that is actually fused to a Belle Arti Courbet poly cotton blend. Now that weave is gonna be really, really fine, so that you're not going to have any of that showing through the paper at all. But it's also a poly cotton blend, so it's really durable. It has a lot of flexibility and a lot of strength to it, which is exactly what we need for what we're going to be doing today, which is stretching it. Now, the two of them are actually fused together with an acrylic adhesive. Now, that's actually really important too, because acrylic is going to withstand your water, it's watercolor paper. We're going to need that. And we're really, really going to need that flexibility that it also offers as we stretch it around our stretcher bars. Now, the first step is actually going to be cutting it down to size. This comes in a roll of 62 inches by 5.5 yards, and I'm only working on an 8x8 stretcher bar. So what I do is I actually lay down my stretcher bars onto my canvas and give it about 3 to 4 inches wiggle room all the way around my stretcher bars, just so as I'm stretching it, I have some extra to work with. So the second step is going to be soaking our aqua canvas. Now, I'm only working on a small piece today, so I can use a bucket, a tray, or even my sink, but if you're working much larger, I always suggest you go to your bathtub and soak it in there. So now that I have my water ready, I am going to just simply put my aqua canvas in it. Okay. And now we wait. So now that our paper is ready, we're going to take it out of the water and blot off the extra water so that it's wet and saturated, but not dripping wet. So now that our aqua canvas is nice and pliable, we're going to lay it with the watercolor side face down. If you need to, keep your paper towels underneath it to give a nice barrier to where your surface isn't touching anything dirty or textured. You want a nice level table that is clean. Now I'm going to take my stretcher bars that I've already put together and make sure that that ledge that is kind of going to hold the canvas up above the stretcher bars is face down as well. Right in the center. Now, I'm going to take my light duty staples and start stapling it to my stretcher bars. Just like you would a normal canvas, I'm going to start in the center on all my sides and then work out from there. And before I staple my second side, I'm going to actually push on my stretcher bar to get that nice and tight before I pull that up and over and staple it down. And then I'm going to repeat on the other two sides. So that at any point in time while you're stapling and stretching, if you feel like your aqua canvas is getting a little dry, make sure to have your aqua mist handy nearby, full of water to where you can just mist it and keep it kind of damp. Okay. Now, I'm going to keep moving from the center out. Okay, now you might be noticing that I'm only doing a couple staples before I flip it and do the same thing on the other side. The reason why is because just like with typical stretching, you want to have that opposite force to where you keep getting it pulled tightly and evenly, because if I stretch just the one side, then I pulled the other way, it might have like a weird tug to it, so this will keep it nice and even. Now, I'm not using canvas pliers myself because I am stretching such a small size, but if you are stretching larger, you might be able to use canvas pliers to kind of really help you stretch your aqua canvas tight. And this stuff is so durable. Trust me when I say you're not going to damage it with canvas pliers. It almost feels like leather. It really takes quite a lot for you to really damage this. So now I'm to the point where I need to do my corners. Now I'm going to try and make sure that I keep my folds going the same direction. And what I mean is whatever side is going over and under, I keep that consistent on all of my sides. So I like to push in the corner here and make sure that if I have this edge fold too far over, I push that in a little bit further and kind of tuck it in a little bit more. Just to tuck that in that way. So now that I have my corner kind of folded in, usually I don't cut off the excess fabric here. I usually leave that because when it comes to conservative efforts in the future, and I'm talking like 100 years, that usually helps them to re-stretch it if they need to do so. But with this, I usually cut off the excess just because this is an aqua paper kind of canvas, you just need to get that excess out of there. Because this is just such a thick material, I always try to cut off that excess in there. It also does assist when it comes to keeping those folds for the corners nice and tight. And make sure you tuck it up underneath before you get it nice and tight, and then staple it down. Check it. And that's the sexy corner. And that's how we fold our corners. Now I just have to do that to the other three. So now that everything is stapled down and secured, all I have to do is just let this dry. And just like when you stretch watercolor paper, those fibers of that paper is going to be stretched tight, it's going to contract while it's drying, and then it's going to be drum tight when we're done. Okay, so now that our canvas is fully dry, it is officially ready to go. And actually, if you take a look at this, you can see that even though this is really nicely, tightly stretched, it still retains that beautiful cold pressed texture that is going to be absolutely wonderful to paint on. Now, if you are wondering if your own canvas at home is ready to be painted on and tight enough, all you have to do is pick it up and start tapping on it. If it makes that really beautiful, crisp, drum tight sound, it is ready to go. Now it is officially ready to paint on, and I hope all of you out there get a chance to try this out for yourself. So, of course, happy painting.